All right, get ready for this one. We're going somewhere where it rains, like every single day.
Every single day.
Yep, no breaks, full-on rain, 365 days a year. Debundscha, a village in Cameroun. They even call it, get this, the Great Britain of Africa.
Wow. Okay, I can see why.
Wild, right? But here's the thing. This village thrives. They don't just cope with the rain. It's like the rain is the whole foundation of everything.
That is fascinating. How does that even work?
That's exactly what we're diving deep into today. We've got excerpts from this article, all about Debundscha, and it's packed with stories about how these people not only live in this super wet environment, but like actually flourish.
Really? I mean, how?
Well, for starters, location. It's in the Idnao commune, southwest Cameroon, right between the ocean and these mountains.
Ah, I see. That explains the crazy weather pattern.
Right. Even with, a bit less rain these days, thanks to global warming, it's still a ridiculous amount. But that rain also creates this whole thriving ecosystem. And that leads to, you guessed it, fish. Tons of fish.
So fishing is kind of a big deal there.
Huge. It's not just a job. It's woven into the whole culture. The article even talks about how the rain makes fishing easier.
Wait, how does rain make fishing easier?
Think about it. The rain makes those rivers flow stronger into the sea, right? Almost like creating these paths for the fish to follow.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Like the rain is almost working with the fishermen.
Exactly. And they get it. There's this one fisherman, Sylvester, he's been doing it forever, and he calls the fish a gift from God. Pretty powerful, huh?
Wow, that's beautiful. It speaks volumes about their relationship with nature.
Absolutely. And then there's Anita. She moved to Debundscha specifically to get in on the fish action.
Oh, interesting. Where'd she move from?
From Limbe.
Yeah.
Saw the opportunity and went for it.
That's amazing. I love that. People going after what they want. It's a real reminder that opportunity can be found in the most unexpected places.
It totally flips the script, right? Like we picture these big cities as the centers of economic activity, but here's this small village that people are traveling to from Douala, Yonne, all over just to buy fish.
So they buy the fish in Debundscha and then resell it elsewhere.
Yep, they buy it there and then resell it. Crazy, right? It really makes you think about where economic opportunities can pop up.
It does, and it's really impressive. So this Anita, she's doing all right then.
Right. Earning more than ever, selling fish for 2,500 CFA francs per kilogram. But it gets even more interesting. We got to go deeper, literally.
Deeper. Okay, now I'm intrigued. What do you mean?
We're talking deep sea diving. There's this guy, Bartholomew, he's a professional diver, goes after the big guys. Barracuda, carp, 30 meters down.
Whoa, 30 meters. That's serious. Talk about dedication to the craft, but isn't that super dangerous?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine the pressure at that depth, not to mention the sharks.
Yeah.
He's spearfishing down there. High stakes.
Wow, that's incredible. But with all that risk, he must be doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's making a good living. The demand for fish is so high, both within Cameroun and, potentially even further afield.
Makes you realize just how vital this resource is for so many people. But it also raises some concerns, right? I mean, what about the ecological impact of all this fishing, especially at those depths?
You're hitting on something important. We should definitely dig into the sustainability of it all. But for now, let's zoom back out a little. Debundscha isn't just about fishing. The article talks about this whole bustling market scene, traders, people drying and selling fish.
Oh, I bet it's lively.
Absolutely. And it's not just about fish. Even within that market, we meet Samuel, one of the few guys left who actually builds traditional canoes. The whole process can take up to 3 weeks.
3 weeks? That's incredible. You don't see that kind of craftsmanship every day. It really speaks to the cultural significance of these canoes.
Definitely. It's like this whole way of life, deeply tied to the rain, the fishing, everything. But there's this other layer to the story. The article mentions that Limbe, a nearby city, is in a red zone, because of the Anglophone crisis.
Oh, right. That adds a whole other level of complexity to things.
Yeah. So even though Debundscha itself has been pretty safe, the surrounding region is dealing with some serious instability.
Makes you appreciate those who are working to keep things peaceful in Debundscha even more.
Exactly. And that's where James Oga comes in. He's part of the village's security committee, one of the people working to keep things stable.
It's inspiring to see how these communities are banding together to face these challenges.
It really is. And their resilience is amazing. I mean, we've talked about fishing, but there's also farming in Debundscha. Samuel, our canoe builder, he also grows cassava, macabo, plantains, even sugarcane.
Wow, talk about a diverse skill set.
Right. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. But farming comes with its own set of challenges. Think wild animals, especially elephants. They can really do some damage to the crops.
Oh, wow, I bet. But they seem to be finding ways to work around it.
Exactly. Samuel, for example, he's even started producing honey to supplement his income. Got some help from an organization called Cameroun. Resourceful, huh?
Absolutely. They really highlight how even in the face of adversity, people find ways to adapt and thrive. It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really is. And speaking of incredible, did you know Debundscha also has a connection to some serious history? We're talking about the Nachtigall Lighthouse.
A lighthouse? Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, get this. It's this relic from German colonial times, perched over 300 meters high on a mountain.
Whoa, 300 meters up. That's a hike.
I know, right? But here's the thing. It's still working. Still guiding boats from Nigeria, the Central African Republic, even Gabon, towards Lee Bay.
You're kidding. So this tiny village is connected to all these different countries through this historic lighthouse.
You got it. It's like a beacon shining out from this unexpected place, connecting Debundscha to this whole network of trade and navigation.
It really makes you think about how interconnected we all are, even across continents. It's like even in its isolation, Debundscha is part of something much bigger.
It is. And that's just scratching the surface. There's so much more to uncover about Debundscha and its people. But for now, I think we need to take a break. Stay with us, because we'll be right back with more of this incredible deep dive.
You know, when we think of lighthouses, it's usually like right on the coast, waves crashing. But this one, up on a mountain.
It's almost like it's looking out for the whole village. A silent guardian keeping watch and guiding those ships from all over.
Right. From Nigeria, Gabon. Like a symbol of Debundscha being connected to the world.
Not as isolated as it might seem. And speaking of connections, let's go back to history for a sec. Debundscha, like so much of Cameroun, it's got this colonial past, right?
You're right. And the Nachtigall Lighthouse, that's a direct link to that. A reminder of the German presence in Cameroun back in the late 19th, early 20th century.
It's crazy to think that lighthouse has seen it all. Debundscha changing over time. What was it like under colonial rule? I wonder how the village dealt with becoming independent.
I know. It's like this silent witness watching history unfold right before its lens, I guess. It makes you realize that the past isn't really past, is it? It's still shaping things today.
It really makes you think. And it just adds another layer to Debundscha, you know. This place is so much more than just rain. It's got this whole story, rich history, connected to the world in all these ways.
Speaking of connections, we were talking about the Anglophone crisis earlier, how it's affecting Limbe.
Yeah, it's a heavy reminder that even with Debundscha's peace, there's still conflict all around it.
Like this constant tension, trying to keep things stable when everything feels a little shaky.
Makes you really appreciate what James Oja and the security committee are doing.
Seriously. Keeping their communities safe shows how strong they are, even with those threats right outside.
It's a powerful reminder that peace takes work. It's not just something that happens. You have to fight for it.
Absolutely. It takes everyone being involved, watching out for each other.
So we've got this rain, this incredible fishing tradition, layers of history, conflicts simmering nearby. Debundscha is a lot more than we first thought.
It really shows how complex things are, right? Even in a small village, you
Yeah.
peel back the layers and find all these stories of resilience, adaptation, how the past is always present.
Makes you wonder, how many other places like this are out there? Places that go against all expectations, thriving in these incredible ways.
I love that. It's like a call to adventure, right? To keep exploring and discovering, challenging our ideas of what's possible.
Totally. There's always something new to learn, always another perspective to consider.
Couldn't agree more. So we've uncovered a lot about Debundscha, but what does it all mean for us, the people listening? What can they take away from all this?
That's the question, isn't it? What can we learn from Debundscha? Let's get into that. We've gone to this village where it just never stops raining, met those fishermen who see their catch as like a gift from God. We even climbed a mountain to see that old lighthouse that links Debundscha to the rest of the world. But what does it all mean, for the people listening right now?
It makes you think, doesn't it? Debundscha really flips the script on what we think is a good place or bad place. Like rain every day. Most people would think that's terrible. But for them, it's everything. It gives them their jobs, traditions, their whole life, really.
It really does. It's like saying screw you to the idea of paradise. No beaches here. But they've got this incredible strength, this resilience, because they've learned to work with what nature gives them.
And I think it's more than just the rain. It's perspective, too, right? Like, what one person sees as a huge problem, someone else sees as a chance to do something amazing.
Yeah, it's like that saying, one person's trash is another person's treasure. We get so stuck in our own way of seeing things, we forget everyone else sees it differently.
Yeah, for sure. And a Debundscha shows how connected everything is. We talked about the rain, how it affects the fishing, and then that impacts the economy, even the canoes and the honey. It's all woven together.
And that connection goes beyond Debundscha too, that nautical lighthouse, right? It's a piece of colonial history, but it also shows how this small village is part of this giant network of trade and ships and all that. It's almost like no matter how far away a place seems, we're all linked somehow. What we do, even way over there, it matters everywhere.
You're right. And that reminds us of the harder side of things, too, like with the Anglophone crisis.
Yeah.
Even though it's not in Debundscha itself, it's still affecting the area, shows how important peace is and how fragile it can be.
It makes you really respect people like James Oja, trying to keep their community safe. Doing that work is so important.
It really is. So we've gone deep into Debundscha, learned about the rain, the fishing, history, even conflict. What's the big takeaway for you?
For me, 3 things. Be curious. Question what you think you know. And remember, we're all connected, whether we like it or not.
That's it. And maybe next time we see something tough or bad, let's try to see it a different way. Could that bad thing actually be good for someone else? Could it be a chance to grow or find something beautiful?
That's a good thought to leave everyone with. Debundscha shows us the world's full of surprises, and there's always something new to learn if we're looking for it. Keep asking those questions. Keep digging deep. And, most importantly, keep an open mind. Who knows what we'll discover out there?